Speaker tonight is Olivia Beasley. She is a passionate young deaf woman based in Melbourne. I'll just wait until she comes onto the screen. Her focus is creating social change in entertainment arts by promoting inclusion opportunities for deaf and hard of hearing entertainers. Her specialised area in entertainment is theatrical and film acting. She brings great knowledge in creating inclusive space for Auslan users and passion in advocacy for social equality and equity. Olivia will discuss the importance of authentic representation and production process with deaf and Auslan users, actors. Thanks, Olivia.
First of all, thank you for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be here tonight to tell you about a little bit about myself growing up as a deaf person. Let me backtrack a little. I was born deaf. I'm from a profoundly deaf family. Sign language is my first language. I've never utilised speech. I rarely wear hearing aids. I've tried those devices in the past, but they haven't been helpful. Growing up, I've been involved in lots of different areas, theatre, politics and advocacy, the arts space, a variety of different avenues. But what I want to explain tonight is growing up at school and my involvement in theatre to date and how adults can get involved. Olivia's just saying, is that better? Yes. Yeah, so, my involvement in theatre, I was involved in theatre early, actually, probably from prep kinder age group. And I thoroughly enjoyed being on the stage, having being centre of attention. And I think it's perhaps because I'm a middle child and middle children tend to get neglected a bit from their parents, I think, because of the first and the last born. But so I was always involved in school plays, enjoying that attention. I would sing. I did go to a deaf school, but we did have a music class for deaf students at that deaf school. I learned how to play guitar, the piano. I was interested and quite curious about those instruments. Then I got into high school and I was in a mainstream school, which is predominantly hearing students. However, they've got better access for deaf students there. I had a full-time interpreter and my goal was I wanted to do dance classes. I really wanted to participate in an ensemble. I tried to take part. However, it was quite challenging. It wasn't about my own barriers. It was more about how the people who perceived me created these barriers for me. And it made it quite difficult for me to actually participate. I'll give you an example. I'd been dancing, like I said, from when I was a young girl. I'd been involved in ensembles. I knew how to feel music. I knew how to connect to it. I knew how to understand and translate the music visually. However, at high school, you know how teenagers are. They can be a bit cliquey, and it was quite a peculiar time for me. And it made it quite tough. And so I retreated and I accepted it as part of my fate because I can't hear music. Therefore, I can't participate in this dance group, which is absolute bullshit. I mean, let's be frank, you just make a few alterations. But in that instance, I retreated and I really wanted to be part of a performance though. I still had that deep desire. So I found actually that at school, there was a theatre group as well. It was a drama group and I was really lucky. That was part of the school program. So I was considering participating in that. And the teacher was familiar with deafness. She didn't sign, but she had an understanding. She had the right attitude on how to change things up. Oh, my skills skyrocketed from being involved in this performance. My stage presence, I attended festivals, I was involved in a lot of theatre production, and it made me, I guess, get rid of my doubts, and when they're casting people, it made me think of, there were a few barriers there at times over the years, but we worked well, we collaborated well, and from collaboration comes confidence, which was really good. So I was in a Shakespeare play. I've won awards for theatre productions as well, and my performance in that. There was one festival event where I did win an award, and we had no voice. There was no sound at all in this production. There was just music, and it was movement. We were demonstrating it with movement, and then we incorporated a few gestures, a few signs, and then I guess it led to this. I thought, well, hang on, I'm the only person who's living here without sound, so I was responsible for the gestures, I was responsible for the visual components to that piece and the mime, and I was able to teach the rest of the cast how to contribute in this performance, and it was such a successful experience, and really that forever stays in my mind. I mean, at that time I was based in Sydney, but then I moved to Melbourne, but I had a real passion for theatre, and I thought to myself, well, where do I start? You can go to auditions, various auditions for plays or films or commercials. But I was thinking, well, where do I start, especially as a deaf actor? And because I knew it would be difficult. So I put an advertisement on Facebook, hoping there was some theatre productions or something that I could partake in. And I was really, really lucky, because there was Arts Access Victoria, AAV for short. And it's there were a group of deaf people, and they wanted me to be involved in this play. So then I got involved in that. And then I got involved in another theatre company called Deferent, which was great. And, that was a deaf theatre company. My whole life, I guess, let me just think, for 17 years, for 16, 17 years, I hadn't come across a deaf mentor or a supporter in acting. I just traversed this space myself. And so just having that opportunity was so different, and I think you need genuine representation, irrespective of what acting role is going to, whether it's a child's acting role or an adult's, you must have an authentic experience, because the quality would be higher, especially from, but especially having a deaf actor playing a deaf actor. So back to, I'm just taking you to the Fringe Festival. It was the Vagina Monologues, and so the Vagina Monologues were at Melbourne Fringe Festival, and there was another play called Paris is Fine. So there were two productions that I was cast in. I was there from the start to the end of production. It was a professional theatre show, and I thoroughly enjoyed both opportunities. But at the moment, I'm not focusing a lot on theatre. I've got a daughter. I've had a daughter just recently, and hopefully when she's old enough, I can resume getting back involved in this type of thing. But like I said, unfortunately, it's really difficult for signing deaf users to be involved in theatre productions. It's a shame I can't just join for fun and that it's at ease, but I really value Melbourne Fringe Festival. It's a small company, and they're really willing to make the effort and to tweak how they do things to actually suit deaf actors, especially those deaf actors who struggle in the mainstream realm. So, gosh, that would have been about 2018 when I actually noticed we need more deaf actors. And there was a film called The Unsound Movie. So I had never had a proper audition, but this was my first real audition. And I thought this will be great. I've been involved in plenty of theatre performances, but I'd never had my own audition. So this was the first time I got to audition. I was pretty excited, as you can imagine. I'd had a look at the script and everything seemed good. The film was a strong, deaf, culturally lensed film. And I was thinking to myself, well, look, it's not easy for us to actually translate our culture and our language. So I had a look at this script, and as time went on, there was a bit of a delay too, because there were funding issues. Finally, when we got started, I thought, oh, this is great. This is like a professional film, and I've got a part in it. I flew to Sydney for it. I believe it was a 2-week stint in Sydney. It was a really good experience, a good opportunity for me to try and be involved in something like this. But there was one thing, it wasn't only the film, it was the theatre, the music, the arts. Everything seemed different. And I often noticed whenever there's a story that has a deaf character or a character with a hearing loss in it, they never actually have an actor who is deaf or hard of hearing. And they're never involved in the script writing or that whole process. They're not involved in the direction or the production, either pre or post. And I thought to myself, something's amiss. And the Unsound film was a great opportunity, don't get me wrong. But I think it was a half-missed opportunity. There was an opportunity for so many deaf people to become a director. There was an opportunity for other deaf people to get involved in making films. There was an opportunity for a deaf person to write a script. That opportunity was just wasted. We got that funding, and I wonder if the funders, were aware that there's people out there, well, the people who received the funding, I wonder if they were aware that there's a whole lot of missed opportunity out there in the wider community. So what I've explained tonight, I hope, I guess your take-home pack is, if you've got a hearing loss or tinnitus, or you're profoundly deaf, or if your hearing is affected, it's important, if you see something, whether it be a performance, a film, or something you want to try, if there's a character with a hearing loss in it, it's ours, it's your identity. And it's really important that we're involved from start to finish, because it'll make a huge difference on the audience, receipt of this film, and it's a great opportunity for community members to get involved in and become directors, like I said earlier. Like I said, the film was really good, but I do feel a bit uneasy because they made a film about my culture and my language and my experience, but the actors were great, don't get me wrong, but compared to like the actors could speak directly to the director. Now, I didn't have that luxury. I didn't have a full-time interpreter with me. There was a person who was a qualified interpreter on set, but wasn't there as an interpreter. So for me, I had barriers through that experience, and my language is Auslan. I describe and I act and I speak using my language, but I didn't have a language consultant, a language consultant. So I had to do that role as well to check that what I'm signing, what I'm expressing for this particular utterance is correct, And so I think, you need to think about, you know, I want to represent a character authentically as a person would. But because I was so preoccupied with worrying about my language, negotiating with directors, and doing all these other things, then my acting was less focused on. So the process was quite tough. It was physically tough, and it took a toll on my mental health because I had so many different roles to think about aside from my acting. I was pleased that the community felt satisfied too, how I represented this deaf person. So there were those thoughts pre-production that were concerning me, but looking back, it was quite an experience. And I think the fact that they can't, you know, the funders can't be bothered to fund someone, fund a company appropriately so that they can bring in all the supports for deaf actors to take part, such as a deaf actor like myself, is a shame. But I'm really pleased to have the opportunity for that experience, and I learned quite a lot, and I think it'll benefit my future. And look, what a nice wrap up. I wrapped it up in under 1 minute, I've just noticed. So I think it's important for you all to stand your ground and understand it's not only about yourself. There are other people out there in the wider community that we're representing when we're in this space.
Thank you, Olivia. That was really fantastic. And I was really lucky enough to see Olivia perform in the Vagina Monologues for the Melbourne Fringe Festival. And it was incredible. It was such an incredible performance. And I believe it was a sold out run as well. So it was really well received, that production. Fantastic.
That's right. It was a completely sold out season. So feeling very proud of that.
Thank you again. And we're going to have a